So I thought it would be good to go through a kind of overview of the forces we'll be studying this year. And we've already really talked about our first three: gravity, tension, and normal. The gravity force is acting on both of the kilogram masses that you see here. They're both trying to be pulled down into the earth. But this one is held up by the tension in its spring that's supporting it. And this one here is held up by the normal force of the scale under it. We saw that those were caused by the interactions between the atoms in the materials. The spring is trying to be pulled apart, but it's being held together by the forces between its atoms and electrons. This kilogram is trying to fall through the scale, but its electrons are being repelled by the electrons in the scale. So those are our first three forces. And let's look at some others that we'll study over the course of the year. This thing here is called an electroscope. And if you look at it, there's a thin piece of foil which is hooked up to a piece of metal which runs up to this ball on the top. And what it's really good is at showing the force of static electricity. If you've ever scuffed your feet on a carpet in the winter and gotten shocked, you'll understand what's going on here. Basically, when two materials rub on each other, electrons often get taken from one and given to the other. That creates a charge. Since charges repel each other, they must be putting a force on each other. So if we could put a charge on this ball here, we should see a charge go down to the piece of metal and to the post, and they should repel each other. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rub this animal fur on this glass rod. That's just like you scuffing your feet on the carpet. Then you'll see me touch it to the ball, and we should see a repulsion. All right, so I've got it good and charged up. Let's touch it and see what happens. Do you see it? Every time I touch it, it moves farther out. So the force between those two flexible pieces in there, that's an electrical force. We'll be studying that in the spring. So what this is a coil of wire. The individual wires are wound around this metal hoop, and inside there's a compass. When I hook the other lead to the power supply up, electricity is going to flow through that coil, and it's going to create a magnetic force on that needle. Magnetic forces are something we're going to study towards the end of the year, and they're at the basis of how all sorts of motors and generators work. So let's see a magnetic force. There you go.